Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome to episode number 220 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. Today, we are going to challenge a belief that holds so many of us back from getting started, which is what makes me so special when so many people are doing the same thing. And this is a thought that creeps in whenever we're on the verge of something new or we're trying to figure out our next steps. And today I want to show you how this belief, while it is very common, doesn't have to define your path. It doesn't have to be the question you have on your mind constantly. And more importantly, I will share how the Spiritual Achiever coaching process can help you get started, even when you don't feel particularly special. And so let's start by acknowledging the truth. The question, what makes me special, is rooted in comparison. It's rooted in the sense of waiting for some kind of permission outside of us. And we look around, we see other people succeeding, and we wonder if there is any room for us to do the same thing. But here's the thing. Being special isn't about being the only one in the room. It's about being the most authentic version of yourself. And that is where the real magic happens. And before we dive into authenticity, I want you to first sit with that thought for a moment. What makes me feel so special? Notice how it feels when you say that to yourself. Does it make you feel small, unimportant, maybe even like you shouldn't bother trying? And that's the exact belief we're going to challenge today. And here's what I want you to realize. That belief is based on a scarcity mindset. It's rooted in the idea that there's only so much room at the top, or that only a few people can be successful in any given field. But is that really true? Or is it something we've been conditioned to believe? The truth is, there is an abundance of opportunity in this world. There are so many problems and issues to solve. There's not just one way to succeed. So let's start by breaking down this limiting belief. And so one of the first things we want to think about is how to challenge this idea of competition. We often think that if a lot of people are doing something already, the market is saturated and there's no room for us. But have you ever noticed how many restaurants there are, amazing coffee shops, or even yoga studios that exist in a single city, and they thrive? This belief comes from the idea that competition is a bad thing. But what if competition is actually a sign that there is demand for what you want to do? What if it's proof that people need this work and that there's room for different perspectives, different approaches? Let's say you want to be a coach, you want to start a business. Sure, there are a lot of coaches out there, but none of them have your exact story, your voice, or your unique way of helping people. And I want you to take a moment to really think about that. Even if there are hundreds or thousands of people doing something similar, no one will do it exactly the way you do. And you bring a unique combination of skills, of personality, of your own lived experiences that no one else can replicate. And this combination is what people resonate with. And if you have that same message as someone else, but it's coming from you with your lived experiences, it will reach a different audience who actually needs it. I always think of this example, which is that right now it is fall, it is apple picking season, and we have this one farm that we like to go to. But if there were more farms that were similar to this farm that we like to go to, we would probably go more often. And it's not about we wouldn't go to this farm anymore, but we'd probably find more enjoyment and more activities that we would do. And then when you go to some of the other ones, they're just so crowded and the lines are so long that it makes the experience a little bit not as fun. And so this idea that there are still lots of farms out here, but still a feeling of there not being enough quote unquote farms for us to use and enjoy is something you can think about for the experience, the work, the kind of thing that you're thinking of doing as well. The second thing we want to think through is acknowledging that there is going to be work involved. So the belief we're going to challenge is this idea that if you're meant to do something, it should come easily. So how often do we hear people say, if it's meant to be, it'll just happen? But here's the thing, no one who's successful got there without effort. And you can have all the passion in the world, but without work, without commitment, without that consistency to overcome anxiety and overwhelm, that passion will just stay a dream. And to be quote unquote special, you need to work on your craft, whether that means developing your skills, gaining new experience, or learning from others who are further along the path. The reality is you are the one who makes yourself special by doing the work. And this doesn't mean you have to grind yourself into the ground, but it does mean you have to commit. You have to commit to learning, to failing, to growing, and to continuously improving. And this is where the magic starts to happen. You get to refine your strengths. You embrace the process even when it feels challenging. And the other day, I was presenting on the sales organization at the company where I do my corporate training and development work. And I knew the number one question I would get from the presentation is, how do I get into sales? Of course, that question came via email afterwards. And my response to the person was, here is a guideline. And if this is something you really want to do, I would encourage you to start sooner rather than later so you can gain the necessary experience. And the person had sales experience, but in a different industry. They wanted to get into CPG, consumer packaged goods sales. And experience is built through effort and time. So like compound interest with the money that you invest, the sooner you start, the more experience you have, the easier it is for you to become special. Now we're going to think about this next idea, which is the trap of what makes me so special. We're going to confront the real fear behind the question, what makes me so special? The fear of not being enough. The fear that no matter how hard you try, you'll still blend in, you'll be overlooked, or worse, you will fail. But here's what I want you to remember. Your specialness isn't about being the best, the most famous, or the most talented right away. It's about the depth of your work, the impact you make, and how aligned you feel with what you're doing. Success in its truest form is about fulfillment, doing work that matters to you and those you serve. And this is truly when the idea of it being about the journey and not the destination becomes more than just a quote. It becomes real. You get to do this work. And if it pays you, even better. You get to do this work, and sometimes you'll pay to get the experience or education needed. And we've seen that in many industries. And this is all a choice that you made because you thought it would be worth it. And if you keep chasing the idea of, I need to be better than everyone else, you'll burn out. Instead, ask yourself, how can I create the most value? How can I help others in the most authentic way? Because that's what makes you special. The way you serve others and show up in your unique power. When you shift from trying to be special to focusing on how you can grow, how you can serve, you'll start to realize something important. You've been special all along, and it's not about whether or not people see it immediately. It's about you continuing to show up as your authentic self, getting better at what you do, and impacting the lives of others in the process. And if you're not feeling special or sure of yourself right now, it's okay. That's why we take a step back and we start with the basics of Spiritual Achiever coaching. It's a process that helps you unlock your true self, your gifts, your genius, and it gives you the clarity to move forward. So let's talk about each step. The Spiritual Achiever process has a step-by-step approach. The first step is spirituality, really unlocking your true gifts. And when we begin with the spiritual side of the process, this isn't just about professional success. It's about unlocking who you truly are. When we ask what makes me special, we're often disconnected from our unique strengths. We're disconnected from our motivations. And the Spiritual Achiever process helps you identify your natural gifts, what truly lights you up. Think about it. Your gifts come so naturally to you that you may not even realize how valuable they are. This process helps you reconnect with those gifts so you can step into your zone of brilliance. It's not about doing what others are doing. It's about defining your mission and what your purpose is for this year or even your lifetime. And that's where you'll find your uniqueness. It's your why. And when you shift your focus from what makes me so special to how can I live in my zone of brilliance, you start to see what you stand for matters. You're not just pursuing professional goals. You're building a movement that affects people and your personal brand and your leadership. The next step is around achievement, really redefining yourself as you grow. As we talk about achievement, we often stay stuck in the idea that to be special, we need to already be at the top. But in reality, being special comes from redefining yourself as you reach new milestones. Who you are today isn't who you will be in a year or even in a month. And if you've been in my work, you'll have noticed who you are today is not who you were a year ago. So instead of worrying about competition, start focusing on who you are becoming as you grow. And the Spiritual Achiever process encourages you to stop playing small. We set boundaries, we get clear on what matters most, and we create a vision for the next chapter. And instead of burning out or chasing after every opportunity, you prioritize what aligns with your holistic view of success. This clarity will set the stage for balance, for more fulfillment, and yes, for feeling truly special because you've aligned your life with your values. Now, this is really about tapping into flow and intuition next, the whole mind-body piece. And we can't talk about growth without addressing that mind-body connection. Feeling special isn't just a mental shift. It's about tuning into your body's needs so you can perform at your best. When we are stressed, overwhelmed, or out of alignment, it's hard to feel like we're offering anything special to the world. And the Spiritual Achiever process helps you release that stress, tap into your natural flow. And when you align your daily routines with your body's rhythms, you start maximizing your productivity, you feel more creative again, you get into flow states more often, your mind becomes clear. And with this kind of clarity, you're able to prioritize what truly matters. And your intuition becomes a guiding force. And often this is why we see a lot of people who don't feel as well as they want to feel in terms of in their body, because they tend to override so much of the natural feedback and information that their body's giving them. And instead of using the natural rhythm of their body and their routines, they are compensating with lots of other things, like a lot more caffeine, or maybe eating a lot more, or drinking a lot more, or doing other things so that they can, quote unquote, feel less stress, which really is to be less in their bodies. This isn't just about doing more. It's about doing what feels most aligned for you. Finally, let's talk about harmony and how we lead with confidence. At its core, this part of the process is about mastering self-leadership. The more you connect with who you are, the more you begin to act, speak, and think with confidence. And confidence is key when it comes to challenging the belief that you're not special. The truth is, you are special when you lead from a place of authenticity. And here's the best part. You don't have to do it alone. Harmony is also about building soul-aligned relationships, communities that support you, challenge you, and help you grow. When you surround yourself with people who are on the same journey, you realize that there's no scarcity of success. You can co-create with others, and your success doesn't diminish theirs, it amplifies it. And so if you've ever asked yourself, what makes me special? Know that it's not about being the best or the only one. It's about unlocking who you truly are, getting skilled at what you do, and leading with authenticity. You're not waiting for permission to use the gifts and to get better at your gifts that have always been there for you. And the Spiritual Achiever process helps you do just that. It brings clarity, alignment, and purpose to your journey. So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a challenge. What is one step you can take this week to unlock your unique gifts, whether it is reflecting on your mission, setting clear boundaries, or tuning into your body's needs? Take action. Remember, you already are special. It's time to stop waiting for permission and start showing it to the world. Thank you again for joining the Own Your Best Life podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who could use a little reminder that they are special too. And don't forget to check out the show notes for more information on the Spiritual Achiever process. We have a free training on how to stand out and lead, the antidote for hiding and overworking, using spiritual high performance strategies. And you can go to mayempson.com/220 to find the show notes and the link to that training. And you can apply to join the Spiritual Achiever program, where you're going to create your next chapter with spiritual and high performance strategies to achieve the time, financial freedom, and the mental clarity. Using my proven method, it is risk-free. So you either start seeing results within your first month, or I give you your money back. And you can schedule your call at mayempson.com/contact. We'll see you inside. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, keep owning your story, and stop waiting for permission. I'll talk to you next time, my friends. I hope you have an amazing week. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmpson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayempson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.